What's up, guys? In the works, playing some Battlefield 3. We're going to be on some Aftermath here, then we're going to switch over to another map, but it's all going to revolve around this particular loadout, which is the 240 Bravo, or as I like to call it, the Big Daddy Bravo. With squad suppression, this thing is an absolute monster, and you guys have seen me use this a lot as of late. I actually did a showdown versing the 240 Bravo versus the M249. The voting for that is actually still open because I haven't made another showdown, but there will be one this Friday. So if you want to get your vote in before then, go find that video somewhere. It's on my channel. It's pretty recent. And make your vote for it because I think it's actually pretty close right now. But the 240 Bravo is a weapon that, I used to absolutely despise the 240 Bravo. Before it got the damage buff, this was not a weapon that I really touched a lot, but then they screwed around a lot with the, and thank you for the free kills, whoever kept reviving those guys. They screwed around a lot with the accuracy on the LMGs, and they made them a lot more difficult to use. But they also buffed the 240 Bravo, and I think, what was it, the PKP got a buff, or I think the M60 was the strongest at the time, and then they buffed the 240 Bravo and the PKP to be like the M60. I might have it backwards. Maybe it was the PKP, and they buffed the M60 and 240 Bravo. Regardless, it doesn't matter. They all do 34 damage now, but this is the fastest firing rate of the three heavy-hitting belt-fed LMGs. And it is absolutely a monster. If you can learn to kind of tame the recoil of the 240 Bravo, I can guarantee you guys you will not pick up another LMG, or at least another belt-fed LMG. This thing is the king of belt-feds, I promise you that. It's an absolute monster, but I notice a trend a lot in Battlefield 3, and it's something that I'm wondering if it will actually go into Battlefield 4, and that's people's reluctance to get away from the weapons that are the easiest to use. I mean, we can talk about this for 50 videos in a row and people will still do it. It's been beat to death. People are always going to use the assault kit with M16, AEK, M416, stuff like that. The easier to use weapons. And why is that? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. People want to do well. They want to feel like they're good at the game. And is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. That's totally fine. This is a video game. You're supposed to have fun. If you have fun using the M16 24/7, so be it. I mean, I know I harp on it a lot. I sarcastically say, oh, look, it's the M16 group. But honestly, I just feel like there's a lot of weapons out there that are fun, and people are really messing up their game when they don't play with some of these. You've got a game here with all these different weapons. Utilize them. A lot of them are a lot of fun to use. And I think with the support kit in particular, a lot of people feel like if they run support, they can't compete with those weapons, just because the M16's got such a fast reload. You've got the AEK that shoots at the speed of light. There's not a lot of things that really compete with that. But I'm here to tell you guys, this class right here, it can compete. It can compete with the M416. It can compete with the M16. This thing's time to kill is just through the roof. It's really, really good. Now, really, though, what makes this class hum is the suppression mechanic. It actually does more suppression than your normal LMG because it is a 7.62 round as opposed to a 5.56 round. And you're like, well, what is that? What does that really mean? Well, in Battlefield 3, those rounds actually suppress more. So you're going to be looking at 3% more suppression than you would get from the 249, any of the other LMGs, depending on whatever your favorite LMG is. You're going to get a little bit more with this. You slap on the squad suppression, you're getting even more suppression. So let's say you get in a pickle. There's like 5 or 6 guys around the corner. You don't think you can take them out. You can go around the corner firing this thing from the hip, or aim down sight, and you will suppress them to the point where they really can't fire back. This is a really good example right here. I actually pick up 3 guys right there really quickly. You can just see how quickly the time to kill is on this thing. It just shreds people, especially at a medium range. The suppression comes into play. You start firing on them. A lot of times, you see me going full auto right here. I'm actually kind of threading it a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to hold this and sustain fire from a medium range like that. And I think that's where this thing really just kind of excels. Do you have to burst fire it if you want to be super accurate at longer ranges? Yes. Is this thing super inaccurate once you learn how to use it? No. It just takes a little practice. The recoil is a little funky. I will admit it took me quite a while to get used to the recoil of this thing. When the game was first out, I never touched the 240 Bravo. I had no interest in ever using it. I saw it, I noticed that it didn't have really good damage. I was like, okay, there's really no incentive to use this, especially when the M249 shoots at the speed of light. So for the first, maybe 5-6 months of the game, never touched this weapon. I really didn't see an incentive to use it. But then once they gave it the buff, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay. It shoots faster than the PKP. It shoots faster than the M60. Yes, it has a little bit more recoil, but if you can learn to tame that recoil, you can have a pretty versatile weapon here. Now, Bipod tends to be the way to go with this thing. I mean, you don't really want to try to hurt your aim down sight accuracy a ton. But I have used it with foregrip and silencer. If you watch the showdown, I used foregrip and silencer. It had pretty good results, but I think where this thing really kind of excels is with the bipod with extended mags, because I don't like reloading. It does have a slow reload. I think it's around like 6 or 7 seconds. It has the typical really slow belt-fed LMG reload. I mean, that's something you've got to have. I mean, you're sitting there, you're opening it up, you're laying it back down, you're pulling it back. There's a lot that goes on if you want to reload one of these big bad boys. So I think 7 seconds is probably pretty swift, considering that all of us probably couldn't reload this thing in 30 seconds. So I definitely do enjoy using this, though. I think it can really compete with some of those assault classes. Like I said, the suppression mechanic is where you're going to excel. You're going to keep people from being able to hit you. It's kind of like a defensive class. For instance, right here, I don't really know where those guys are at, but you still see me putting shots on target. Eventually, I end up getting a lot of suppression points. Is that really a bad thing? No. I mean, that's points towards your score. I get a lot of assists. I get a lot of suppression kill assists. I mean, look at that right there. I'm just firing into the bushes. I'm not really sure where they're at, but I know if I put shots on target, I might get a couple kills, and I'll get a lot of suppression assists, as you see me pick up a nice, easy 700 points. I mean, just like that. Boom, 700 points. And this thing is an absolute monster. So if you're looking to level up your support class, get a couple service stars, I really highly suggest trying it out with the 240 Bravo. I think you guys will have really good results. You'll be able to compete with a lot of the weapons that get on your nerves. Now, the biggest weakness will be in close, but I know a lot of people who swear by this thing in close quarters. I personally tried it out with laser sight. I know a lot of people who will put laser sight on this on the close quarters maps and not even aim it. They will just hip fire this thing, and the suppression is such a big factor that when you're hip firing it, a lot of people don't have the accuracy skill to fire through the suppression, and you'll just hip fire in the death. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can play the 240 Bravo. I think it's a pretty versatile weapon. I think the high damage, that high time to kill really makes this thing a versatile LMG that I often see get overlooked. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I just wanted to make this because this is one of the classes I have been enjoying using. These were actually 2 tough games against 2 really good teams. We actually pulled out the win in this last game here, which I was kind of surprised that we won. But like I said, 240 Bravo is nothing to shake a stick at. This thing is a monster, and it can compete with those assault tryhards. But if you missed any of my other videos, here's a chance to catch up, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.